Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are from Group T. We'll be presenting on our report which is entitled Tourism Sector to be Given Special Focus under Budget 2022. Okay, so what is budget? Okay, generally the annual budget in Malaysia is a government estimated revenue and spending to counter-cycle country's economic crisis. As for this year, budget 2022 was announced on Friday, October 29th, 2021 by Minister of Finance, YB Senator Tengku Datuk Seri Utama Zafrul Aziz. The allocation for the next budget 2022 is 332.1 billion ringgit, which is the highest among previous budget. However, the global COVID-19 pandemic crisis has affected Malaysia's economic sector in a worse way as we experienced downturn in full GDP growth, shrunk by 5.6% in 2020 compared to 2019. This includes tourism industry that indicated as the most affected sector during the pandemic, including hotels and restaurants, air travels, and tourism services. The country needs to reconsider all tourism activities to take precautionary measures, example, lockdown, social distancing, MCO, and also quarantine. Hence, in this video, we will explain the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism industries and how the government react on the budget 2022. The changes in the tourism activities must be given special focus under budget 2022 to tackle the ongoing problem.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AINA INSYIRAH binti RUSMADI, and today I would like to explain about the role of tourism. So, Budget 2022 will focus on tourism sector participants to assist in their recovery, given that the tourism industry is one of the nation's significant contributors to gross domestic product (GDP). For tourism industry in 2020, the tourism expenditure is amount RM 40.4 billion because in that year pandemic COVID-19 was in early stage. Okay. And then in 2021, the expenditure rise to RM 165 billion as nation was affected badly with the pandemic COVID-19. And in 2022, according to Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, under Budget 2022, Ministry of Tourism has been allocated to RM 1.3 billion for their expenses.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURAINA YAZIZ and my metric number is 1202382. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the socio-economic issue. Okay, the COVID-19 pandemic has had an enormous impact on the entire community, including Malaysia, in terms of socio-economy. Okay, since the Malaysian government tightens its grip in early March 2020, many problems have arisen such as debt burden, falling oil prices, as well as impacting trade and tourism because of the global closure. Malaysia's effort in tackling the spread of this pandemic initially gained international recognition for being able to hit the percentage of COVID-19 infection cases. The tourism industry is among the industries affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is due to the decline in demand among tourists due to travel restrictions imposed by the authorities. Most countries opted for a solution to disconnect the COVID-19 disease by imposing travel bans to the entire community. Many tourist attractions around the world were deployed not to continue operations such as amusement parks, museums, sports center, and so on. As a result, 65% decrease in international tourist arrival in the first 6 months of 2020. Apart from that, the COVID-19 pandemic also harmed the hotel sector due to the closure of border gates as well as the implementation of movement restriction. Okay, since the MCO was implemented in March last year, about 90 hotels have closed up the operations either permanently or temporarily. Okay, for the result, hotel occupancy rates declined significantly by up to 20% when the MCO was extended. According to the statistic, the industry suffered a revenue loss of 6.53 billion ringgit Malaysia, with an average rate of 169.69 ringgit Malaysia, and an average occupancy rates of 27.5% in 2020. That's all from me. Thank you.
Alright, so let's move on how Malaysia overcome the issue in budget 2022. As you know, the tourism sector has faced a huge losses, and therefore Malaysia will focus on maintaining its expansionary budget state and enhance the country's GDP recovery. When tourism resumes, domestic travel will be the focus as many incentives were given, for example, travel stimulus package, and a total of 1.6 billion for infrastructure maintenance and rehabilitation of the tourism industry was allocated in budget 2022. Other than that, the percentage relief incentive for Malaysian travelling locally were extended for the year 2022, and also there will be an exception of tourism tax. And besides, a target wage subsidy program will be introduced for the affected employers and employees. And lastly, there are about 600 new jobs promised to be guaranteed.
To sum up, when compared to the previous year, the number of international tourist arrival decreased by 74% in 2021. As a result, the Malaysian government announced a second round stimulus package worth 250 billion to assist businesses. Some destinations saw significant increases, particularly for domestic and regional travel. Domestic tourism helped to mitigate the impact, at least in part, and the government has taken impressive immediate action to revitalize the tourism industry while protecting jobs and businesses. Tourism is one of the most directly affected sectors during this current economic crisis. Lockout, quarantine, and significant restriction on national and international mobility were imposed as the government attempted to protect its people. New tourism norms are emerging, and tourism businesses must be willing to innovate and adapt their operation accordingly. Furthermore, although the industry has recovered well from previous crises, the magnitude and scope of the COVID-19 related impact on tourism and the economy is impossible, making the recovery happen rapidly.